Hello everybody and welcome back to Juno New Origins, where we are currently on our way out here. We're going to be executing this node fairly soon, 45.9 meters per second, to put us into this encounter. We of course want to set Atraitus as our target here. There we go, so we can actually see what's going on here. And let's go ahead and execute this node. So that's going to be about a 12-second burn, no problem whatsoever there. So let's get that completed. There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Now, I wish there was a way, maybe there is, a way to offset where this is attached here, because I don't like the clipping together. But we'll see if that ends up being a thing that we can change later on. Now, before we go too much further, we should probably go ahead and shut down this guy. Okay. So there we go. We'll do that. We don't want to drain out all of our batteries, of course. So let's just go ahead and coast on up to, well, our next approach of Atraitus, which is going to be at 1807 megameters, which is fine. I'm not too concerned about that. That seems absolutely okay. So let's just coast on up like so. Okay, so here we are in position for that, and our inclination is very, very polar, but I'm not concerned about it. We've got plenty of delta V for the mission that we have in mind here. I've decided we're going to go for the moon for this one, and let's just bring this into a circularized orbit. It's going to be a heck of an inclination change, but sure. We probably should have changed that earlier. Doesn't really matter. So onward we come here, and let's light up this engine. Yeah, I see these, like, pushing around in very awkward ways. Very awkward ways. Let's turn this guy on so that we have our gyroscope here. Can we stop this spin, please? That would be nice. The spin is building up because our solar panels are hitting our fuel tanks. Not a fan of that. Okay, let's bring this in. It's going to be a bit awkward, but it doesn't matter. We're going to have to make major changes to this anyway. So we've already been on Boreas. We've already been on Hypatian. At this point, we need to go to Taurus, right? This needs to be our target. So that'll be absolutely fine. We'll mark that as our target. And let's just get ourselves into an orbit here. Our orbital velocity at this altitude is quite low. Interesting. And we're just going to make our way over as soon as we can, but we're going to have to make a big inclination change first. So this inclination is 25.78 degrees. Okay, so we're going to want to do this at, like, the target ascending node here. But let's just let this burn finish up. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and perfect. That'll do. That's absolutely good enough. So next up at the ascending node target, let's go ahead and bring this over to be, it's going to have to be a big change. We know that we wanted this to come down to like 27 degrees, I think it was. And we're going to have to toss in some retrograde, no doubt about that. So this is currently 30 degrees. What was our target? Our target was select Taurus. Thank you very much. 25.78. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. We can do that. 25.78 degrees, which would be a little less than this. About like, let's turn down that sensitivity a little bit. About like this. 25.81. Hang on. This is still a little sensitive. There, that should do. So that'll put us into the correct inclination there, and then we can adjust our... I don't think we need to circularize it. It'll be fine. So let's go ahead and execute this. That'll be 1.8 minutes of burn, about 500 meters per second to insert ourselves into the correct inclination. So let's go ahead and do that. Engine lights up. Nice. So what is our current power generation here? 17.1 watts. Hilarious. Yeah, that needs a lot of work. No doubt about that. So let's just get ourselves into the correct inclination here. And as we can see, that's slowly turning right on around. I like it. And we're a little pushed out over this way, but I don't think it matters. I think this is close enough to being circularized to make any sort of approach that we want to. It'll be fine. How are we doing on fuel in these drop tanks? Currently, we've got about 27% fuel left in the drop tanks. This is going to be so overkill on the fuel. Okay, so that seems absolutely fine. We're only 45% of the way through this. Let's warp through the rest. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and 0. So our current inclination is 25.77, good enough. So from here, I'd like to figure out where we want to do an approach. So this is going to be a fairly high amount of DV for this maneuver. Fairly high. Not tremendously high. Actually, this isn't bad. What is this altitude? Show us the encounter info, please. So that's 3,670 kilometers. I'd like to dial that in a bit. 260, but that's actually an impact. 120 kilometers, that's probably okay. Let's leave it about there. I'm not sure what the altitude height is for Taurus. I can check the wiki, but I'm not sure how... I'm not sure how reliable that actually is. We just had an issue, so let's see here. Altitude height... The atmospheric height is apparently 100 kilometers. So 120 should be sufficient. Let's turn the sensitivity way, way, way down. I'm going to put it at 150, just to be safe. Okay, so somewhere around there. That's theoretically 50% higher than we need to be. So let's go ahead and run this, and we'll see if the wiki is wrong about this one, too. Should be interesting. So that's going to be 175 meters per second. It's only going to be a few second burn time. Looks good. How are we doing on drop tank fuel? 21. We've got so much. We're going to burn a lot of that in our braking burn, of course, because we're going to be moving pretty fast relative to Taurus on the way in here. But that's absolutely fine. We're going to be able to use the gravity assist to bring that down to a pretty reasonable amount. Honestly, all things considered, this is very, very effective at this point. So let's see where this puts us. 600 kilometers, huh? Let's see about dialing that in a little bit. Because that's definitely not exactly where I wanted it to go. So let's turn that down. This is the correct direction here. Okay. I want to bring this down to 120. This is still showing that we're, or rather 150. This is still showing that we're going to have an impact. That's interesting. Way down on the sensitivity, please. And let's turn that to 0. Okay. So once again, I'm targeting 150 here. So this is going to be an extremely minute burn. To be honest, I'm not entirely certain that our engine is capable of burning this precisely. We'll give it a go. It's way over burning. What are you doing? So this is now 11.4 megometers. That was not the burn I wanted it to be. Maybe I pressed the wrong button. Let's dial that in one of these ways. This way. Let's try that again. So that's 86.2 kilometers. That's definitely too low. Okay, one of these is going to be going the wrong direction, but it doesn't matter. We've got so much fuel. We're not going to be able to target anything other than this, so I don't actually care if we come in retrograde. It's reasonably fine. So 2.866, and this time I'm going to actually tell it to point the correct direction, and let's do a small corrective burn. 3 meters per second is going to be easier for us to hit anyway, so I guess that's fine. Okay, 144. That should be okay. So let's dive on in here, and let's bring ourselves up to that encounter. So we'll switch SOI here. There we go. We have entered the SOI of Taurus. This is 149 kilometers, which should be above atmospheric level. We'll see if it is. And let's drop this guy right on down here. We're going to want to circularize at 149, I guess. So something about like that. Okay, so we've still got 19% fuel left here, and let's go ahead and warp this right on in. There we go. This definitely does appear to be above the altitude of the atmosphere, so that's good. Hopefully the wiki is correct on that one. It was not correct on Atraitus. Okay, let's put ourselves into a circularized orbit. So at this point, we have ridiculous amounts of fuel, right? There's no doubt about that. We have truly crazy amounts of fuel for this. So we really don't need this amount of fuel. We have many kilometers per second from here. But I do want to check and see how many people have entered the SOI in percentage. 0.8 have entered the SOI of Taurus. It's quite random, I'm noticing. Interesting. Well, that's absolutely fine. We've actually only got 21 achievements left. Interesting. So that's absolutely fine. We're going to finish off this burn. We've got about 10 seconds left here, and that looks great. Then we're probably going to come up over here and make an atmospheric entry burn. So we're going to drop this down to probably like... If we plan a burn here, we can drop this down to somewhere around... According to the wiki, the atmospheric height is 100.4 kilometers. 100.4. So that should mean if we bring this down to like 95, that would be incredibly, incredibly safe. And then we can do a braking burn down here, or probably more like over here, and bring that down further. We've got so much DV, it'll be fine. So let's go ahead and bring this over. Okay, so we're going to light up the engines here and bring down our periapsis to be within the atmosphere. Again, this is going to be overkill. I'm now going to stow our solar panels. And we're going to bring this around to somewhere like here-ish. And I'm going to make sure that we are locked to retrograde. There we go. We're going to light up this engine fairly soon here. I'm interested in seeing what our thrust to weight is. Our thrust to weight is 3.69. Okay, that's not bad. That is not bad. And that thrust to weight is going to improve significantly. Let's warp forward a little bit further here to about here or so. And now I'm going to start lock velocity retrograde. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to start burning here. We're not going to do too much aerobrake. We've got so much fuel, it doesn't really matter. So let's just burn off a bunch of this methalox. At this point, we are officially in atmosphere, so we should be experiencing some drag here. Yeah, we're definitely seeing some drag. Okay, and we're moving quite slowly, so this should not be much of a problem. I would normally look to kill our lateral speed only, but I'm concerned about atmospheric density here. I think it's going to be a pretty dense atmosphere. That said, we're up pretty high, and it probably doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and burn here for the moment, and we'll just continue to burn off this fuel. So we can see our thrust to weight is up over 4 at this point. Are we going to be able to lift off from here? That would be really interesting if we were able to. I'm going to shut down this engine. My overall question right now is, and I want to lock us to velocity retrograde. My overall question right now is, if we're here, are we able to land this and take it off again? We might be able to. The main concern would be overexpansion damage. I'm going to try, but our primary mission here is to land this. If we can take it off again, that's incredible. If we can't, well, our primary mission was just to land, right? So that should be reasonably fine. Now, I'm looking at our surface velocity going up here, and that's not terribly surprising. We're still very, very high up. Our lateral velocity is 405 meters per second. It's increasing at this moment. And yeah, we're definitely going to be coming down on the day side. So that looks good. We've got all of this ballast out here. We've still got a fair amount of fuel in these tanks. So we are seeing some drag force from this. So we're definitely going to see something from that. The question is, are we going to have to do a powered landing, or are parachutes going to be enough here? Our air density is definitely creeping upwards. And this is looking like this is going to be a water landing, which is substantially safer. We can't really see through the atmosphere in the map view, but this is currently looking distinctly like a water landing, or at least some form of liquid. I don't actually think that's water, but, you know, a liquid landing. So that would be fairly ideal as long as that liquid isn't, you know, 10 trillion degrees, which I doubt it is. I think this is a cold world. I mean, we're seeing the ambient temperature creeping upward right now, but that air density also creeping upward significantly. I'm going to take this up to 10x for the moment, and we're going to coast on down. So that air density is increasing a lot. Now we're starting to slow down. Okay, so you can see here we're over the coastline. We're definitely going to be going over the water. We're still quite high up at 40 kilometers. And we're slowing down at this moment. So this is not bad. This is not bad at all. Let's warp forward a little further. We're moving very slowly at this moment. Terminal velocity is under 100 meters per second. Okay, let's let this coast on down for a while. So we're about 9 kilometers up right now, and I want to be at sea level, but it doesn't really matter. It's the same thing. We're 6 kilometers up. Right? This is sea level? Is this a liquid? I'm not actually sure. It doesn't really matter either way, though. Let's see here. It sure looks like it's a liquid. Maybe it's just a very transparent one. But yeah, over here, this absolutely looks like a coastline. So we'll see. We're currently about 3 kilometers up, traveling at 36 meters per second. So let's go ahead and see what happens if we activate just this chute. Okay, it broke off because of too much stress. Okay, this is potentially a bit of an issue. Ah, that chute didn't break. No solar panel, not you. I didn't intend to click that solar panel. Okay. So one of those chutes isn't breaking. The others are. So that's a little awkward. We're getting too much stress here. So I think we're going to have to do a powered landing, which is very awkward indeed. That's getting over expansion damage. Okay. Noted. I think we're going to give up on the secondary mission. So off go those. Off goes this. And also, let's go ahead and activate all of these. Okay. Repack and deploy. So now our chutes are going to be functional. There was just too much mass. So I just had to give up on the secondary mission on this. It's fine. Okay, so let's get this one going, and also this one. There we go. Lock velocity retrograde. We're out of juice, so we're going to be reliant on the chutes to pull us over here, but we absolutely should get that. So this is fine. We're just going to land here, and we'll have to launch another one out this way. Interesting. These two have not actually deployed. Regardless, it does not matter. This is absolutely a liquid here. And we can see that those are safely down. To be honest, we probably didn't need to get rid of that, but there we go. Successful landing. The fact that we were taking over expansion damage on that Wyvern engine was what told me that we probably needed to do this. I'm not 100% certain that we needed to. Let's actually check here. Here's the Wyvern engine. So let's see. Can we grab that? Yeah. So we can see, okay, yeah, 2.2 damage from that amount. That's almost certainly going to need to be a thing. Now, We are apparently not buoyant. That's okay. We don't need to be. This is fine. We got our landing, so it's all good. We're going to destroy that craft. We don't need to do anything else. How many people have landed on Taurus? 0.6%. Okay. So at this point, what we need to do is we need to do our crush altitude approach of Atraitus. And that would be the only mission here. So that seems reasonably fine. We can grab some tech tree. In fact, we can max out the tech tree. Consider it done. And there we go. That is all tier 6 tech nodes unlocked. We have unlocked everything in the tech tree. For the record, 0.5% of players have done that. It's really apparently very rare to get this deep into Juno. Interesting. Well, we have this planet visitor that needs to be destroyed. There we go. And then we're going to relaunch our planet visitor here, and we just need to get to the crush altitude of Atraitus at this point. So let's go ahead and launch this guy. It's going to launch with our program, so we're just going to get ourselves into position nice and quickly. Off we go. There we go. Now it'll smooth out. Perfect. Outer shell dropped. This one's stuck, but it'll probably clear off eventually. There we go. Inner shell dropped. That's going to cost us a little bit of DV, but I'm really not concerned about the DV. Really, really not. Actually, I want to address these solar panels. So let's pull this back and let's not do this immediately. I want to address these guys. So if we go into here, we can see they're clipped into these hemispheres, and that's a problem. So the fold angle is like that. I see. Okay. My question is, can we change? I see. So I think we're going to have to downgrade this down to here. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. Okay, let's go ahead and save this, and let's go ahead and lift that off once again. So that'll take us very little time to get that up into orbit, and then we can send that over to Atraitus, do a little bit of aero braking, although I think it'll be far less than we did over Atraitus. And then we can just call it a day on Atraitus and head out to the last remaining location that we haven't visited. Okay, this time we had 2 of these hangars on. They'll go away eventually. I'm really not concerned about the Delta V. We have so much Delta V. So that's all fine. These should be much safer solar panels. So that's absolutely wonderful. And we're just going to continue to burn here until our apoapsis is at 500 kilometers, of course. And then we will head on forward and circularize that. Cool. So that's about 400 and roughly 500. Excellent. We'll need to go forward a little faster than this, of course. 10 minutes to apoapsis at this point. 5 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead and bring that back down to 10x. And this engine is lit at this point. And there we go. Orbital insertion complete. Nice and easy. So that's all absolutely fantastic. At this point, of course, now we need to send this guy out to Atraitus. So that's Atraitus there. This one is Atraitus. We'll select that, make that be our target. And then we need to select the planet visitor and have that launch its burn. I always forget when I want to do this. Sometime around here, maybe? Let's see what that might look like as far as an encounter goes. I mean, sure, but the timing's awful. So we're not going to bother with that. I'm going to have this just be a standard exit then. So we're going to do something like this, where we just barely kick out of the system. Something like that-ish, but the timing is not, I mean, perfect. Sure. I don't really care too much about this. This is fine. Our arrival time is too soon, though. So we actually need to get rid of this. And let's put it somewhere around here. Okay, let's get out of here. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to get ourselves out of this orbit and find ourselves an encounter. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Andy McGard, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.